Hi everybody, we're here as the Staples marketing team presenting to you the Staples Board of Directors a sponsorship proposal for Little League. So to start off, I'll give you a little information about Staples. There's the different categories of products that we have at our stores are technology, facilities, and more stuff like that, and also medical supplies as well as safety supplies and copy and print services. We have over 1,900 stores worldwide in 25 different countries, in different regions like Asia, the Asian Pacific, Europe, South America, and North America. Another thing I want to highlight is also Staples is very big on corporate responsibility in the environment and ethics and also in the community. They gave over $13.8 million to nonprofits last year. To give you a little bit more information about Little League, the season starts in early April and goes all the way through the end of June, and that's when the regional playoffs start. And the Little League World Series begins in late July and ends in late August. There are 16 different regions in the Little League World Series, 8 national and 8 international. Those players come from over 7,000 communities in 83 different countries across the world. And there's over 2.2 million players in Little League across the world. Just to give you an idea of the different regional participants that we have, there's from the United States, there's anywhere from New England down to Southeast, up to the Northwest, down to the West, and even South Leagues. And there's regions from Japan, Europe, Asia, the Asian Pacific, Europe and Africa, Middle East. So it's all over the world. And I'm going to hand it off to Hank to give you a little bit more information about Little League.
Little League, big legacy. They have a 75-plus year tradition, with the first Little League World Series being held in 1947 with 2 American teams competing. In 1960, Little League was ahead of the globalization of the sport and began introducing teams from Mexico, Panama, and Canada, and now includes 30 countries globally, with every continent being represented. The Little League World Series takes place in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which is the birthplace of Little League baseball. It's a small town just outside the Appalachian Mountains with a population of 29,000 that grows exponentially during the time of the World Series. Little League is the best-known brand in youth sports. It promotes sportsmanship. Players hustle on and off the fields. They shake the other team's hands after each game. Recently, Sponsorship Research International, a company that evaluates the return on event, has Little League brand a strong brand value as well as having a strong family audience. Little League also offers sponsors authentic brand integration, and an example of this would be Honda as a sponsor. They use their Honda Odyssey for the Honda Odyssey Shuttle, which takes fans from the parking lot to the stadium. They also offer sponsors cross-promotion opportunities. They have an annual summit that rotates between the East and West Coast, and an example of cross-promotion opportunities that are already existing would be Kellogg's with Easton. Kellogg's Tony the Tiger commercial, Easton donated a lot of baseball products for that, and also Honda runs promotions where they auction off a lot of Russell Athletic, which is another sponsor. The largest, in 2014, the Las Vegas-Philadelphia game had an audience of 5 million, which was the largest baseball audience on the network since 2007, when the Yankees-Red Sox game had 5.3 million. ABC, ESPN, and ESPN2 combined to cover all 32 Little League World Series games, as well as 150 games during the season. They averaged 4.1 million viewers and a 2.7 U.S. rating. The days leading up before the event, also, SportsCenter is live on site and highlights a bunch of different activities going on throughout the complex, and is hosted by Jay Crawford and Chris McKendry. The event itself, Little League World Series, offers families a ton of fun. They actually have a family fun zone, which we'll get into later, where sponsors can run promotions and really interact with the fans. The average attendance per game is a wide range depending on which stadium. They have 2 stadiums, Howard J. LeMaitre Stadium and Volunteer Stadium, and they also have surrounding fields. Based on the event, the marquee matchups will average about 42,000 fans, whereas smaller games, maybe earlier in the tournament, will average about 4,500 fans. Now I'm going to hand it off to Michael to explain the win-win components.
All right, let's talk about the win-win match. Staples partners with nonprofits. Little League is yet another nonprofit by which Staples can increase their exposure in the sport industry. Staples' target market includes both individuals and business clientele, which are both being reached through this sponsorship. Little League has a target market of 20 to 40-year-olds, which is parents, mom, dads coming out to watch their children at the games. By reaching out to both of these target markets, both Staples will gain increased exposure in the sport industry, and Little League will gain its only office supply sponsor. Little League will have exclusive discounts to Staples office supplies, as well as Staples products that go beyond office supplies. And with the promotion of discounted back-to-school shopping to our target market, this will give our consumers more of an incentive to purchase Staples products, and will separate us from our competition like Amazon. Now let's talk about our goals and objectives. Our first and main goal is to make profit. We want to increase sales to our target market, and we achieve this goal by both online and in-store purchases. With the promotion of back-to-school shopping throughout the Little League World Series to our target market, which I might add, the Little League World Series is in the prime of back-to-school supply shopping. This, by offering discounts to our target market, this will give them an incentive to purchase our products. To further this point, a survey conducted earlier this year by the National Retail Federation showed that 51.3% of back-to-school consumer products were influenced by promotions, discounts, and coupons, this will increase our in-store purchases, which have been declining in recent years. And by offering Little League exclusive discounts to Staples products, this can lead to long-term business clientele, which we as Staples strive to attain. Secondly, we want to increase branding. Our branding tagline is, "That was easy." So we promote simple shopping, and we make office supply shopping easy. Also, as a company, we emphasize corporate responsibility by bringing awareness and giving a real meaning to community, environment, ethics, diversity, and inclusion. And by partnering with Little League, who already has a strong family brand, this will definitely increase our brand. And lastly, we want to deepen community engagement. By sponsoring Little League, we put more emphasis on our community involvement. We stress more community support, and we achieve this by tapping into the sport industry. And with this sponsorship, we will also be able to promote educational development through our advertisements and with our hashtag Staples for Students. Now I'm going to hand it off to Matt to talk about our components.
All right, so the first of the components we're going to cover is the Family Fun Zone. So this is a 12 by 12 tent that's going to have a variety of different things going on at it. Thousands of people walk through this family fun zone throughout the entire tournament. So first, we're going to cover the Little League family card. So at the tent or online, Little League families can go sign up for this card. You're going to give your name, your email, your address, your phone number, and Little League ID. This is a way we're going to build our database up for families that are in Little League. And when you apply for this card, you're going to get 10% off any back-to-school shopping supplies at Staples. Next in the family fun zone, we're going to have giveaways such as stress balls. We're going to have coloring books there for kids so that parents can take their kids there. They can sit down, relax, and we can already supply all that kind of stuff. Next, we're going to have a dunk tank, and in this dunk tank, we're going to put Staples employees. We can have kids for free just line up, throw some balls at the dunk tank, try to knock somebody into the water there. And then last, we're going to have appearances from former Little League World Series participants. So when they have these guys there, it's going to be guys like Gary Sheffield, Dusty Baker, and Aaron Boone. We're going to have people take pictures with them and then tweet the hashtag LLB2S, which is Little League Back to School. And when you do that, you enter a sweepstakes to possibly win $15,000 towards your school, because we want to give back to the community, not only through sports, but through education. All right, so next are the in-game promotions. We're going to have string bags, and with these string bags, we're going to have 2 lucky rows a game. Win these bags, 10 people per row. And what we're going to do with the bags is you can take the bags to any Staples that are participating in this competition, and the winners can fill up the bag for only $20. There will be exclusions from things such as laptops, so people can't just for $20 put a laptop in a bag. We limit it to office supplies only. Next are t-shirts. So we have a t-shirt cannon, and at that t-shirt cannon, we're going to give away 30 shirts per game. We're going to do it at 2 separate times to be 15 shirts per toss, and then we're going to do the tosses at the end of the 3rd inning and during the 7th inning stretch. As you can see with these pictures right here, we're going to have Staples on the back as the official sponsor, and on the front we're going to have the Little League World Series of Baseball. And then there is an example of the string bags as well. So now to reach the national audience, not just the ones that are attending the games, we have television promotions. So leading up, in the months leading up to the Little League of Baseball World Series, we're going to have different promotions running through either on TV or through our social media, which is a better way to conserve money. But during the Little League World Series of Baseball, we're going to have 5 in-game mentions, and that's times 32 games. So you're going to have 160 total mentions. In these mentions, you're going to have things such as the application, that Staples application, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and Staples for Students campaign, which will also be mentioned. Here's an example of what can be thrown up on the TV during these mentions, and that way you can get a whole idea of what we're trying to do with the national audience. So next is the Staples phone application. So you're going to go to any app store, whether it's Apple or Google. You're going to go on that. You're going to download the Staples app. Then when you sign in, you're going to give all your information, such as name, email, things that were given with the Little League one minus the Little League identification. And that's another way we're going to be able to build up our database through you guys signing up for that. And then when you sign up, you're going to enter a specific code that we give online, or not online, sorry, on TV mentions. And then when you enter that code, you're going to unlock coupons such as 10% off all school supplies. We're going to have the coupons run through September. That way you can go and use the coupon at any point when you're doing your back-to-school shopping. So the next part we're going to cover is a way to build up the community relations. Staples for Students was already created before, and when it was created, it was to encourage kids to think creatively. The original idea was to have kids create inventions, and then they were placed in order of how good the inventions were, and then they won prizes through that. But we would like to branch out and kind of incorporate Little League into that Staples for Students. The way we're going to do that is donating some money to improve facilities, collect equipment, and just overall help athletics for Little League Baseball. We believe this is a great opportunity because we always see movements such as the NFL doing the Play 60 movement, and it's just a way that we can promote education and also being active. So here's an example of what Little League's website is going to look like. We're going to have the 2 Staples logos at the top. You're going to be able to just click on them and go right to our website, and that way you can look at the deals we have for back-to-school shopping. But in this little section down here where it says news, Little League will be able to post articles about how Staples is helping out with the Little League and various things that we're running with them through the Staples for Students program and any sort of back-to-school shopping things that they would like to add on there for us. So it's a good way to not only reach out to our Staples brand, but it's also a way we can incorporate ourselves into the Little League. And then this is a photo of our website, what it would look like, and we'll have them down at the corner, the official sponsor of Little League. That's just another way to make sure that we're cross-branding and just helping each other out, and everybody's benefiting from this kind of situation. Okay, so pretty much to summarize everything, we're going to explain Little League's values to Staples. So we're aligning ourselves with an organization that has the same values and culture. Little League's values are to help kids. Well, they do it through play. We do it through education. It helps market Staples' brand to the same target demographic. As was stated before, the demographic of Little League is kids and families, and it's exactly what we're trying to target at this time due to the back-to-school shopping. We want parents to come in. We want parents to see deals. And people, when they're buying for multiple kids, are going to want to come to Staples when we have 10% off because you're going to be getting good value for how much you're buying. It also helps advertise various promotions being run for back to school. When we do the Little League discount card, when we have the app discount code, which would be LLB2S, which is mentioned before, was Little League back to school. And that way, when they're signing up for these various things, we're getting people to come in, and even through the promotions that we run in-game, when they come in to fill up that bag, if they win a string bag, they're probably going to want to buy other things, not just fill up that bag. And it also helps build community relations through Staples and Students program. This is the way we can give back to the community, and we think a huge way of building a brand is by relating with the community, and we can do that through Little League Baseball. So next I'm going to hand it over to Rob, who's going to talk about the budget.
So now that we've looked at all of the components of the partnership deal and why we feel like this is a win-win match, let's talk about how we can make this happen financially. So we started with a $2 million budget, which was given to us by you guys. Now, unfortunately, half of that, $1 million, was taken out for the sponsorship deal and the ESPN TV package. With that $1 million, we did a lot with our promotion activities. We spent $500,000 on TV advertising. The way we're breaking that down is 10 advertisement spots listed at $25,000 each during the Little League Baseball World Series, promoting the Staples for Students and the back-to-school savings. We have 25 other advertisements throughout the summer valued at $10,000 each that will promote the Little League rewards card for Staples, so that families can start to sign up and get the card, so that when it gets to the Little League Baseball World Series and mid to late August, families already have that card ready to go for back-to-school shopping. After those advertisements, as Matt mentioned earlier, we're committing $250,000 to that Staples for Students program. We're going to do this in combination with Little League's Urban Initiative, which is where Little League goes out and donates money and helps build Little League communities around the country. Things like buying equipment, improving facilities. So since Matt said we're trying to work with them on this, we're allocating $250,000 out of our budget to donate to this program and do it in combination with Staples for Students, so that we're hitting both prongs of athletics and education. Next, we're going to look at our promotional items. As mentioned throughout the presentation, we're going to have t-shirts, stress balls, and string bags, which all cost money. So the t-shirts, since we have 30 per game, and there are 227 games during all of the 9 different Little League World Series, the t-shirts cost $10 each, so that's how we got to our final number of $68,100 for the t-shirts. For the stress balls given away at the tents, we have allocated 500 stress balls for each of those 227 games, and they cost 49 cents each, so that's how we get to the $55,615 for the stress balls. Finally, for the string bags, we have 20 per game times the 227 games, and the string bags are 22 cents each, which gets us to that number just under $1,000. So in total, our promotional activities cost just under $125,000. But we feel that this is a good use of the money in terms of really expanding our brand and getting our name out and running all of those promotional activities. Next, we have our athlete appearance. We talked about having former Little League World Series players like Dusty Baker, Gary Sheffield, Aaron Boone coming to the tent and doing the picture sweepstakes. We've allocated 10 different appearances, so $50,000, $5,000 for each appearance. We know that that's not a lot of money, so we only expect them to stay for 3 innings per game. But we feel like this is a good use of the money to really get our name out with the sweepstakes. All of those pictures will be circulating on social media with the hashtag flying around, and it's going to be really, really great promotion for our company. Next, we have the labor. We have to staff the tent. We allocated 3 workers per game for 5 hours per game, paying them $8.50 per hour for the 227 games during the Little League World Series events which is how we got to that number of $28,942.50. Moving on, we have miscellaneous expenses listed at $15,000. Anything from transporting our workers, stocking the tent, any other expenses that we haven't anticipated at this point. Next, we have the sweepstakes winner. As mentioned before, $15,000 will go to whoever the sweepstakes winner is, their school district, so that their school district can buy school supplies for the students, for the teachers. I'm sure many of you are familiar with when you were in school that teachers tended to run out of supplies toward the end of the year. So this will help to avoid that, plus increase our branding and our partnership with Little League. Next, we have to rent the tents for the World Series events. For each of the games, we totaled it up that the tents would cost us $2,700 to rent throughout the summer. Obviously, you need a t-shirt cannon for a t-shirt toss because it's no fun otherwise. So the t-shirt cannon plus the carbon dioxide tanks, the rental for that will cost us $2,500 throughout the summer. And finally, the dunk tank rental itself is $200 a day for the 10 days during the Little League Baseball World Series, which comes out to $2,000. All of that totaled together, we're left with just under $10,000 left, and we feel like this is the best way we could have used our money and allocated our money and still have extra money even on top of our miscellaneous expenses, just in case anything else comes up that we haven't anticipated, even apart from the miscellaneous expenses. So next, let's look at some of the evaluation methods. We really want to make sure we're getting the most out of our money for this partnership. So the first way we're going to do it is we're going to look at the number of signups for the Little League member card. Whether it's at the tent, at the World Series events, or online, the number of cards given out to families is a good way to show just how broad of a reach our partnership is getting. Second, we mentioned the online discount code, that LLB2S that goes along with the hashtag that even non-Little League families can enter on the app and on the website to get coupons. We're going to count how many times that has been entered either on the app or online, and that will give us a good sense of how many non-Little League families we're reaching with this partnership. Finally, continuing off of that, using the hashtag LLB2S, we're going to see how many people are posting about that, how many people are viewing it, liking, sharing, commenting, because even just the number of posts doesn't do it justice. That would be a lowball estimate, because each post could get dozens, hundreds, thousands of views depending on who posts it and who shares it. So we feel like these three are a really good way to see how we're getting that return on investment from this partnership, and really how we're putting our money to use, and that we're going to get that money back. $2 million is a lot of money to invest, so we want to make sure that we're getting well more than $2 million back, and we feel like using these evaluation methods, using all of the promotional items that we've talked about and how we've allocated our budget, we feel like we will easily surpass our $2 million budget. We thank you for your time today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us here, and we strongly feel that after you decide to partner with Little League, you will sit there and say,
"That was easy."
thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Questions for these gentlemen? Max.
You said one of your main goals was increasing profit of Staples, but when you went through your ROI methods, I didn't really see anything there regarding how you're going to measure actual profit. Do you have a plan in that regard?
Well, in terms of the evaluation methods, there are no direct ways to measure profits simply off of how we're going to look at the evaluation, but we can take things like how many times the Little League member card is used, how many times those codes are entered, and how many purchases are made with those, and then we can take the amounts of the purchases and add them up to calculate the profit off of it.
Other questions?
Yeah, so in your budget, you had $500,000 allocated to commercials, and that's like half your budget. Did you is there a reason why you thought it was like wise to use half your budget on just like advertising when you said yourself that like social media might be like just as effective?
Well, yeah, we thought it was effective to advertise on national TV because these games get picked up by ESPN. And as Hank mentioned before, they have an average of 4.1 million viewers per game. So having those spots during not just the summer but during the World Series events, we're reaching a lot of people that way all across the nation. Social media goes far, but it only goes so far in terms of across the nation. We know that ESPN and its family networks are national channels, so we felt that half of our promotion budget was good to invest in advertisements.
And to add on to that, the promotional package, our advertisements start running a month before on ESPN and ESPN Radio, and then through the Little League World Series itself.
Other question?
Did you guys put more ads during the games that are going to be more viewed? So, like the last 3 or 4 games, like leading up to the championship, did you put more advertising there, or was it the same as like when you were leading up towards the actual World Series?
Do you want to handle that, Shaq?
We actually don't have quite as many ads because we have 25 ad spots the month leading up to the World Series events. But because the value of each ad spot increases, we were only able to do 10 advertisements during the World Series itself. But we will strategically place those ads at peak game times and peak viewership times so that we get the most out of each advertisement.
And we also get in-game mentions through the broadcast as well, with coming back to commercial, Little League World Series, sponsored by Staples.
And that's throughout all the games. The
Yeah.
mentions are throughout all the games.
You guys have like 227 games in your budget that you're budgeting like the bags and stuff for. Does that include like regional games and like the international competitions too, or just like the American games?
Those are just the 9 different World Series events that are held in the United States.
So, Little League Baseball is unique from some other sport properties in that they don't allow any in-stadium advertising. So the outfield wall cannot have your logo or anything on that. You had said one of your goals is to increase brand exposure. How do you overcome that fact that you're not allowed to advertise in the field of play?
Well, we're allowed to do the promotions during the games, like the T-shirt and stress balls and the string bags. As well as that, we have the tent in the family fun zone, which is right at the exit, so our entrance/exit. So all the fans coming in and going out will see our tent at Staples. And so, yeah, I think that enough will help increase brand awareness through the event, and we don't really need necessarily to have our signage on the walls around the stadium.
In addition to that, in the family fun zone too, there's a bunch of other games that parents tend to bring their kids to come play besides just visit the Staples tent. But that's also a way that while kids are playing, maybe one of the parents can separate from them, go to the Staples tent if they can see coupons and discounts. And that's just a way that we can make sure that our tent is also being seen without having to really advertise it throughout the entire stadium. And plus, we get that national aspect by getting the mentions on ESPN.
My last question is, you mentioned, I think, Hank, the use of the T-shirt toss, which is, everybody does it, but everybody does it for a reason because people love it. My question related to T-shirt toss, though. In a Little League baseball game, how many innings are there?
6.
6.
Yes.
When are you going to do them?
5th inning stretch, not the 3rd.
3rd inning and the 7th inning stretch, I believe you said?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Not quite possible.
7th inning stretch in Little League baseball takes place during the 5th inning. So I guess it's more a reference, like the 7th inning stretch, but since Little League baseball only has 6 innings, the 7th inning stretch where they sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" is done in the 5th inning.
Nice save. All right, good job, gentlemen.